So today I'll be implementing the feature that is concerned with, let me just check my volume. The feature that is concerned with searching for flights. And of course, like, we're building a REST API, but I'll make use of another service called Amadeus. Okay, so let me quickly get into that. And of course, like, this is me learning and trying to master FastAPI. So when you see me doing something which is not right and you have experience with this or you understand it better, don't hesitate to guide or write it in the comment section, especially if you're watching this as a recording. So let me go on to the browser and show you what we shall be using. Okay, so and actually today we can even use AI to help with writing some of the code. So ideally, this is I'm going to use Amadeus, okay, for developers, their APIs. And one of the endpoints, I'm going to use the flight offers search, okay? So maybe just to show you what I want to do is this. If I go out to my editor, today of course we're going to use cursor. I want to see how AI can help with this. I'm going to go to routers, okay? So in flights, okay, I'll say from, okay, I'll say from routers, okay, from FastAPI, import API router. Wow, I like AI. Actually, cursor is better than VS Code if you look at it. So I'll hit tab, and of course we're going to do something like this, okay? From FastAPI import router. I don't know if I can select an interpreter right now. Say create. I want to select environment. Okay, let me first leave that for now, okay? So yeah, saying get flights. This is slash, and look at what they're giving us. Other endpoints, okay? But for now, I'm going to go to routers. No, I mean main, okay? And register this router, okay? So I'll come here and import it, okay? So I'll say from backend routers, import flights. And AI has already given us the autocomplete, so I'll accept it. Actually, autocomplete and AI is much better here, okay? So app would include flight.router. Very easy. I like it. It's now faster. And this is how AI is going to help us code faster in this generation in our day. And I'm really loving it so much. Okay, so I want to deactivate this fetch environment. On that deactivate. I know we're working using Docker, so I just want to make sure everything is okay. Let me just run it, okay? I'll say Docker compose app -- build. And again, I don't know how I forgot to, it says no configuration file found. Okay, let me go into this, clear, and I say Docker compose app -- build. Again, I forgot to set the build, okay, the volume, but that is something we shall research on later. So it says Linux permission denied. I need to use sudo, so I'll say sudo. I put sudo ahead of this command. Say sudo, then enter the password, then run. This should now work. Says allow cursor. Let me just allow. Okay. So we have included the router for flights, just like we added the one for users. And then when we get to this, of course, this one is just simply giving us a basic message. But ideally, we're supposed to return flights. So I want to go to Amadeus, study it carefully, and then we shall prompt AI to be able to create for us the endpoint. Okay. Ideally, we have the endpoint, but we're going to tell AI to implement for us to make an API call to Amadeus, fetch the results, and return them. Okay. But ideally, what is going to actually happen is that we shall need, of course, things like response models, okay, input models, etc., stuff like that. Okay. But if I'm to show you this application in the browser, let me open it, and I go to localhost. We see that you see now we have flights. Okay. We have flights here, okay? Just like login, register, we have flights. And to see flights, you don't need to be logged in, okay? To see flights. And that is how also the front end is going to work. Maybe shortly, let me show you the front end. Okay. How can I show you the front end? Maybe open it via VS Code. Even no need for VS Code. Still using the same cursor. Okay. Let me come at file. I say new window. Okay. In fact, there's really no need for this. Do you know that? Okay. What I need to do is just simply open a new terminal here. Okay. And go to CD front end. I say nvm use 20. I'm using the version 20 of Node.js. Okay. Even 18 I think would work. I think I was using 18. Let me say use 18. Oh, then I say npm run, I think dev. If it fails, then I'll check. Okay, looks like I'm correct. So if I visit localhost, okay, I want to show you the front end. Okay, so this is the front end I built. Okay, with the help of AI. So ideally, the endpoint we are creating. Okay, this is what is going to happen. Okay, when someone comes here and maybe says maybe it's a round trip or one way. Okay, so if they click one way, this field is automatically disabled. We say from or to, they select their departure time. Okay, pick the currency, e-funds, etc. Okay, then they click on maybe non-stop, then say search flights. Okay, let me put here something. Okay, just maybe New York. Okay, then they say search flights. Okay, let me put another city here, say London. Then they click on search flights. Okay, they come to this page, flight results. But these flight results are going to come from the endpoint, this one here, get flights. Okay, so to be able to search a flight, you don't need to be authenticated. Okay, the endpoints for login, register will come when someone is booking. Okay, yeah, so in fact, there's another endpoint I think we should start with, but I'll show you that later. So for now, let us continue. Okay, so I wanted just to show you the front end and to see how it looks like so far, so that when the integration comes, it gives you more appetite and eager to see what is going on. And actually, this is going to be something serious. I've already bought the domain for this. Okay, and I'm going to test it on the market. Okay, so let me close this and go back. Okay, so we have these endpoints. So we have our endpoint here that we need to implement, and we're going to use AI to help us to build it. Like I've shown you, the front end is, let me say, 90% of the UI done. Okay, what we're remaining with is simply, like you see, this page is like for my bookings and tickets has been implemented. Okay, what is simply remaining is now making this front end, which has been built using Next.js, which is supposed to consume the backend. So the Next.js front end will consume the FastAPI's backend, okay, the endpoints. So let me close this, and all this is going to be nice. So I'll come here and now rather go to the documentation. Okay, so the flight offers search. If you read here, it says the flight offers search API searches over 400 airlines to find the cheapest flights for a given itinerary. The API lets you search flights between two cities and perform multi-city searches for longer itineraries. Access one-way combinable fares to offer the cheapest options possible. For each, let me make this bigger. For each itinerary, okay, the API provides a list of flight offers with prices, fare details, airline names, bag allowances, and departure terminals. Lena says, we appreciate your generosity to teach us using real-world app. I mean, we're actually learning together, okay? Just like you saw Linus from the beginning, okay? I didn't know FastAPI, and I'm building my first project using FastAPI, okay? We failed together, we succeed together, okay? So but I just wanted to do something real world, something which I'm going to test on the market, okay? So let us go on. So they're saying you don't have any apps, create one to test this API, okay? So I need an app, and I'm going to create an app. They say the API forms the first step in the flight booking flow. Once a flight is chosen, confirm the real price with flight offers price and book the flight with flight create orders, okay? So this is the first endpoint, okay, in the booking flow. Okay. So this API answers the question, what are the cheapest flights from Madrid to Paris on June 1st? This is the goal of this API. Okay. And they have here notes to developers. They said developers working for airlines should use the airlines API in the enterprise catalog. Okay. But I'm not working for an airline. They say flights from low-cost carriers are currently unavailable. Flights from American Airlines, Delta, British Airways are currently unavailable. Okay, that's good to know. So yeah, this is going to be a real world example. So they say download the Open API spec. Okay, they say go to API reference and examples. If I open this in a new tab, come here, the examples. It looks like it's still loading. Okay, but what I'm going to do is to create a new app. Okay, so I'll click on this. By the way, you need to create an account. Okay, so like this is my account. I created an account. Okay, so app name, I'll call it Aero bound Ventures. Okay, target to optional, business to customer, business to business. They say this is optional. Okay, because ideally I want to, it's going to be my business to a customer. Okay, then also sometimes I'm going to work with businesses. Okay, later on, if you guys are serious about it, I will show you something. Okay, very interesting. But I might work with some businesses. Okay, because some businesses are going to help me with issuing tickets. Okay, so I guess since they're saying they're optional, let me leave. Okay, let me leave. Let me say create. Okay, this is good. If I come back here, they say you don't have any apps. Create one to test this API. Okay, it's okay. So we have done that. They're saying app name is this, target. Okay, click the pencil to provide this information. It's okay. Then of course the API keys. Okay, so they're saying you can use the keys to consume our self-service APIs. To learn more about how our APIs work, check the get started section. Note, after moving to production, don't forget to update your app with production keys and the best URL. Be informed that it may take up to 30 minutes before your API keys are active once you have them. Wow. Up to 30 minutes. I hope we have that time on this stream. They're saying don't add any personal info when testing this app in the sandbox. Okay. So they're saying the best URL is this. Okay. This is the API key. So I'll copy it. Okay. But of course, I will not show you the secret. Okay. Make sure you don't show anybody the secret. So if we go back to this, I had a .env.example. Okay. So ideally, I'll come in and say, this is just for you guys, okay? But I'm going to hide the screen, okay? And have this Amadeus underscore API key equals to that. Then, because some random, then Amadeus, the one is called secret, okay? Secret. Okay, so I'm going to hide my screen temporarily, okay? Then I copy. So I've finished typing. Okay. So just to show you one more thing I added, okay, was if I go to back to my editor, okay, I added the base URL. Okay. So take note of it. Okay. So we're going to try to use AI to do this very fast for us. Okay. So we need now to look at how to use it. Okay. So I'll refresh this page. Okay. So that they give us the whole instruction. So I'm going to read through it. Okay. Then I'm going to prompt AI. Okay. We give AI an instruction to do for us exactly this. Then we shall review the AI code. In fact, let me start writing the prompt as the page loads. Let's say act as a senior backend Python developer. Okay. Implement the get flights path operation, use requests module. Okay. Make the relevant models relevant, let me say pandatic models for input and output. Okay. Then okay. So you see, we can test using this. Okay. So this is the base URL. Okay. They're saying v2. Okay. Then they say before using this API, we recommend you read our authorization guide for information how to generate an access token. Be also aware that our test environment is based on a subset of the production. If you're not returning any results, try with big cities like London or New York. Okay, so we shall try that. Okay, then we come here. Okay, we have something like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give cursor the endpoint. Okay, this is the endpoint. Okay, I'll say, let me go to the .env. I feel like sometimes using using when you're prompting, the amount of time you would have taken prompting maybe is the same amount of time you would have spent writing code. But let's find out. Okay, so I want to copy this, but I don't know how to do it. I can't copy this. I don't know why. So try it out. Okay. I'm going to copy this. Okay. And I tell them that I tell you this is the request body. Okay. I say request the request body looks as shown below. Okay. I know people who would write a better prompt than this. Okay. And after that, we come down here and get the response. Okay, for a successful operation. I wish there was a button for copying all this. Okay. So I think you see the importance of swag and documentation. Wow, this is a lot. The response looks like so. Okay. I don't know if that's a lot of text. It might fail. Okay. I just want to give it in case of errors. Okay. This is how an error would appear. Errors. Guren, hi. Thank you for joining. I hope you're enjoying today's stream. Guren, is that how you pronounce your name? So I copy this, give AI also, and I hit enter, hoping I've not used okay. So, but remember, before this, you have to take note of what we read ahead. They said, before using this API, okay, we recommend you read our authorization guide for more information on how to generate an access token. Okay. So right here, if I show you in my .env, which I'll not show you, okay,
but I have a .env.example, which has the similar information, okay? I had an API secret and a base URL and an API key, okay? So ideally, on top of this, okay, we need an access key that should be sent, okay, to this endpoint, okay? But before using an access key, okay, I mean, before getting to get an access key, this access token, okay, you need to use the secret and the API key, okay? So let us see what AI is doing, okay? Saying review next file, which means it has written code elsewhere, okay? I hope it hasn't, okay? But as it thinks, let us go here, okay? We did not tell it the endpoint. I hope it will be able to figure it out. Let's wait. So they say authorizing your application. They say Amadeus for developers uses OAuth to authenticate access requests. And thankfully for us, we learned actually OAuth when we were studying FastAPI. It says OAuth generates an access token which grants the client permission to access a protected resource. We learned about it. Even this very API which we are building uses OAuth, if you remember, and it returns an access token. So the same thing they are also implementing. And they're saying this, Gren says here, so I think I pronounced the name correctly, it says, thanks for the tutorials. You're welcome. They say the method to acquire a token is called a grant. There are different types of auth grants. Amadeus for developers uses the client credentials grant. It says requesting an access token. Once you have created an app and received your API key and API secret, you can generate a token by sending a post request to the authorization server, which is this one here. Okay. Okay. Says missing access token. Okay. You see? Simply another REST API. They said the body. Actually, as a developer, you're going to, as a backend developer or frontend developer in general, you're going to learn how to, you need to learn how to read people's documentation, okay, and master how to use them. So they say the body of the request is encoded as this. This is the encoded, okay, in the encoding, where the keys and values are encoded in the key value tuples separated by an and that, okay? So they have the key values, so the grant type is that, client ID is that, secret is that, okay? Then they have an example, okay, which performs that, okay? And they say not the exposed, blah, 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 okay? So, okay, let's read them. Let me know just say blah, blah, blah. Let us read, okay? So they have the grant type, okay? The value client credentials. The client ID is the API key, which we copied. Client secret is the API secret, which we copied, they said they specify the type of request using the content type header with the value of this, okay? Remember they mentioned it here, okay? URL encoded, okay? So this is using curl, but first we're going to use the requests Python module. They say note that the X post parameter is not needed in the curl command. As we are sending a body, curl sends the request as a post automatically, okay? Then the response will be something like this, okay? With an access token and when it expires, okay? They say the response will contain the following parameters, okay? Like this. The type, the username, the application name, the client ID, the token type, the access token, the time the token expires, and the state, okay? Whether it is approved or expired, okay? That's the good thing, okay? So all these are here, okay? The type of the token, they're saying the type of resource. The value will be Amadeus or Auth2 token. The username, your username. In our case, it will be my email address. The application name, which will be the name of our application, which is Airbound Ventures. The client ID, which will be the API key for your application. The token type, the type of token issued by the authentication server. The value will be bearer, okay, for this case. Okay. Then the access token is simply the token that we're interested in, okay? Then they say how to use the token. They say once the token has been retrieved, you can authenticate your requests to Amadeus Self-Service APIs. Each API call must contain the authorization HTTP header with the value of bearer access token, where the access token is the token you have retrieved. Okay. So now, like for us to get the flight information, okay, we have to send this authorization token. But to get the authorization token, we must use this endpoint. Okay, so yeah, they're saying managing tokens from your source code. So they're saying to retrieve a token using your favorite programming language, send a post request and pass the JSON as in the curl examples above. Okay, and they're saying there are different strategies to maintain your token updated, like checking the time remaining until expiration before each API call, or capturing the unauthorized error when the token expires. In both cases, you must request a new token. Okay, so they're saying to manage simplifying the token authentication process, you can use the Amadeus for developers SDKs available on GitHub. The SDKs automatically fetch and store the access token and set the headers in all API calls. I think this is something I'm going to do, okay? Instead of for us doing it manually, okay? And that's what AI had said it to do. Well, I think they actually ignored this one. They have put it another endpoint, okay? But let's leave that for now. So example of initializing with Node, this is Node.js, okay? So you see, they pass the client ID and the secret. But under the hood, okay, it will add the access token, okay? It will automatically fetch the access token, which is good. And I don't want to do that manually, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Amadeus, the SDKs, okay? So I think you see where I'm going with this, okay? I'm going to use the SDK. So you're seeing they have Amadeus, Python, okay? So this is say pip install Amadeus. So let me try to use UV, okay? So I'll come here and I cancel that and I say UV add Amadeus. No project. Okay, this is the front end folder. I say cd dot slash backend. Okay, and I can clear my screen and I say UV add Amadeus. By the AI has generated some code for us. Maybe we can review it before we continue. Let us see what AI has done. Okay. So let me say keep. Should I say keep? Let us see what they've done. So the response model is flight search response. They say search flights, search request. Okay. Flight search request. Okay, this is good. There's a response model for flight search request. I mean, for the flight search response to handle the responses, then flight search request. Okay, so it has followed the rules, okay, which is good. Says it has a comment saying search for flights using Amadeus Flight Search API. Okay, let's go to the code. It says validate that the required environment variables are set. Amadeus.api key.secret. Where is it picking them from? Okay, it has created a services file. API configuration not configured. But we don't need this. You don't need the client to know this. Okay. That's why it's always wise to, they say response goes Amadeus service to search flights, search request. Okay. Then they either send a 400 or they raise a 500 internal server error. So okay, AI is okay, but AI has done some work, but I'm going to remove this code because I don't want people to know about the credentials. Okay, the front end to know about the credentials. The credentials should be handled by the backend. If things fail because of credentials, the front end should get a 500 error. Okay, and me, the backend developer, should be able to go to the logs or get an email or an SMS telling me that something has gone wrong. And that should happen from the monitoring system. So we shall have to build a monitoring system to help with that. So okay, I'll say keep for now. Okay, we say review next file. So okay, this is the file we've added. Amadeus. Okay. I did that. I say keep review next file. So they've created the file flights.py in schemas. Okay. And this is something I had a conversation with Linus recently in the chat. Okay. Let me skip this. where we're deciding what should be in the schema or should be in the models. So let me maybe try to reduce this a little bit. Okay. So they have a departure, date, time range, destination. Okay. Okay, this departure. It's a date. Okay. Time. Okay, which are fields. Remember when we were studying about FastAPI, fields help us add additional like validation. You have original destination, having the ID, original code, that, the traveler type, cabin. Okay, many number of models. We shall see if they'll work. Segments. Wow. AI created many. Even the error response. Okay, let me keep these ones. When it fails, I'll edit manually. Then they created a what? A service. Okay. Say Amadeus Flight Services. They have the best URL, which is this. They have the API key, which is Amadeus API key. This is good. But something is missing here. Okay. They've not been loaded. Okay. I'll say I need to load them from .env, import .env. Okay. So AI new. We need this tool. Then okay, we get the key, we get the secret. Access token is none. So get access token. Oh, actually they know. Are you seeing this? What we were reading, they know that we need to get an access token. So they make a request. I look at the grant type. The grant type is correct. Client credentials. And the client ID is self.api key. Client secret is self.api secret. Okay. So, and they either raise an exception that things have failed or do a post request. So yeah, AI has done well. And they actually, look at this. The method starts with an underscore. Do you remember your Python? It means that they are private. Then this one says ensure token, okay? But I don't want it to do this, okay? We want to prompt AI to use the SDK, okay? To use the SDK. So you see, it's a create a singleton instance. Do you know what singleton is? It's a design pattern. For those of you who know design patterns, meaning in our entire backend, there should be only one instance of Amadeus. This is what they're trying to do. So let me keep all, this is a review next file. What is this? Setup.md. Wow. AI, what has AI done? I don't need this one here. I don't need this one. So let's go back to the documentation, okay? So we have done this, okay? We are going to tell them, okay? We're going to tell AI to implement this, okay? So you're saying to make your first API call, you'll need to register for an Amadeus developer account and set up your first application. But we have done this, okay? And here of course, they have examples, whatever, okay? But what we need actually is this, okay? Having our client, have the client ID and client secret, so that we don't need, how can I get my window back? Is it this? Okay, yeah. If you look at flights, this service, okay? We don't need this function, okay? How can I hide this sidebar? Oh my God, hide sidebar. This, okay? Get access token. We don't need it. Why? Because according to the Amadeus documentation, they told us that their SDKs do it for us. Okay. So I'm going to copy this. Okay. I'm going to look at it. They say you can find all the endpoints in the self-contained code examples. Okay. So in case we need any code, we can simply come here. Okay. And it will be very, 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 very simple. Okay. So I'm going to prompt AI. Okay. And this is what I like about AI. Okay. So now here we're using AI like a core to help us write so many things. Then we review. Okay. And again, if you see something which I have not seen, please let me know. Okay. So I'll say I've installed the Amadeus SDK, which will get the access token and attach it to every request for us. Okay. Use the following code appropriately. Okay. And again, I don't know whether I need to tell it to act as a senior backend developer. Okay. This, I don't know whether it will append, because the way AI works, I would expect it to remember the previous, but let me just add this again. Act as a senior backend developer. So I'll say act as a, in fact, I can even say you are a senior backend developer. I've installed the Amadeus SDK, which will get the access token and attach it to every request for us. So remove, let me get remove get access token. Okay. Use the following code appropriately. Okay. So we have that. Let us see if AI will be able to do it. Let me say send. Okay. And by the way, this is the free version of Casa. Okay. Initially I was using the free version of VS Code, the Copilot, but after some time I lost all the credits. Okay. And I didn't want to buy. So I switched back to Casa. Interesting. People who want free things. So maybe when I see how good it is, later will. Actually, when this project ever makes me money, I'll start now paying for those tools. But there's some kind of work I'm planning to do next week that I think maybe I might pay for one of these AI tools. Because some clients want websites, but they're single page websites, and I think AI can create them very fast. So yeah. Looks like AI is still thinking. So okay, let me see. What can we change here? So the client can be initially directly, which we have done. So by default, the SDK is set to a test environment, to switch to a production pay-as-you-go environment. Please switch the host name as follows. So guys, don't forget this in case you ever use this. Okay, and I'll do this later in production. Amadeus has a large set. In fact, this I think should come from the environment variables too. So say Amadeus has a large set of APIs, and our documentation is here to get you started today. Head over to our reference documentation for an in-depth information about every SDK method, as well as its arguments and return types. So they have initialized in the SDK, find an airport, find a flight, get flight inspiration. Yeah, they have everything. Okay. Actually, at the company that I told you about, okay, we do it manually using the Amadeus systems. Okay. So you look at this, okay? They have inspiration, flight, cheapest, dead. They have lots of stuff here, okay? Lots of stuff. And one day I think I should contribute to this. So let us see what AI has done, okay? So if you see this, okay? Let me say keep, okay? Then we edit it, okay? So inside this code, okay? They have, okay, the same, the class name has stayed the same. They have in the init method, okay, they're saying self.api key equals os.get environment, Amadeus API key, self.api secret equals os.get environment, Amadeus secret key, which is okay. Then they say if not self.api key or not, raise value error Amadeus API credentials not configured. Okay, this is good and smart. Then after that, they say self.amadeus equals to client, client ID equals to self.api key, client secret equals to self.api secret. And they say our code is actually shorter, okay, because we're using the SDK. The method for doing getting the access token has been removed, which is good. Just a moment, let me check the chat. This other screen to make sure my stuff is running well. Okay, so I'll close this, open this other one, okay? Then they say define search flights, okay? Self, because it's a public instance method. Then they say search request, okay? Which is the type of search request, and returns the search response. Let's look at the search request, okay? So you see the search request is a Pindatic based model, meaning we get all the validation and everything, okay? The cool stuff with Pindatic. So we have a currency code, which is a string, okay? And is a field, okay? And has a description saying currency code for pricing, e.g. that, okay? Origin destinations. This can be a list of origin destination. So let's look at origin destination. So we have to review what AI has written. This is the best way of working with AI, okay? So the origin destination will have the ID, which is just a field with a description, original code with a field, okay, a string and a field. Okay, so fields are for adding additional metadata and validation, okay? But for now, we're only having descriptions. Then they have a departure time range, which is of this type, okay? Departure time range, this, okay? So you see how one thing is being building upon another, okay? So if we go back here, ideally we want to look at the flight search request, okay? Which has the currency code, the origin destination, the travelers, okay? The sources, search criteria, okay? And if you look at the list of travelers, if you look at traveler information, you get the ID and traveler type, okay, which is a string, okay, which should be like a the type of traveler. For example, is it a child? Is it an adult? Is it a senior? etc. Like that, okay. If there's any issue, we shall prompt, okay. So ideally here we have the response. I like how it has done the request models, okay. Then down we have the response models. So you see how in the world of AI, it can help us write a lot, okay, and save time. So let's go back here, okay. So it says return a flight search response. You go to flight search response, we get this, okay. The metadata, the data itself, which is a list of flight offers, the dictionaries, okay, which is a list of this type, dictionaries having locations, the aircraft, currencies, and carriers. Okay. So what I want to do right now, maybe I can also review this comment. It says search for flights using the Amadeus Flight Search API, arguments search request, okay. Flight search request object containing such parameters returns flight search response object containing flight offers, raises exception if the API request fails. So we're going to test it, okay. So if we come here, they extract the parameters from the search request, okay. The origin destination, the travelers, currency code, the sources, that, okay. So for simplicity, we'll use the first origin destination pair. In a production environment, you want to handle multiple pairs. Okay, I'll need to handle this. That's correct. So they get all this. So they do some calculations, okay? They count the number of adults, okay? The number of children and the number of seniors, okay? But I need to investigate this, because what if this one, okay? Why are they starting with one? Who can tell me why is it one? What if they're not travelers, okay? Then using all this information, they build the search parameters, okay? The origin code, the destination, departure date, the adults, currency code, sources, etc. Okay. They build additional, well, it's pretty long, okay? They add cabin restrictions, okay? Like for the economy, premium. And this is something we'd have done, by the way. We would have to think through it, okay? Then after that, they make the API call. The actual call is here, okay? Saved with Amadeus, the shopping, flight over search dot get the search params, okay? So if we go back to the documentation, you see it is here. Shopping flight offers dot get. As simple as that. So what I need, I don't know if there's anything you don't understand. Let us execute it. When it fails, okay, then yeah, we start debugging. Because like you know what the drill is. You don't just trust AI blindly. Okay. So what else? Okay, then they return the flight search response, which is the response data coming from this, okay. So they say convert the SDK to a Pindatic model. Okay, that is correct. The SDK returns data in a format that matches our expected response. Then here they say response error as error, handle Amadeus SDK specific errors, okay? And I think maybe I would actually create a class to handle each of these separately, okay? Saying error messages equals to this. So this is a list of error messages. Then they say if the error, okay, has an attribute response and error.response attribute exists, that means then they check if errors in error.response, and then it says the AI has implemented the concept of nesting models we studied in the documentation. Yes, that's right. So for every error in error.response, okay, they append to error messages, okay? So error detail.get, they get the title, that, they get the detail, here they say unknown error, then they append in the else block of this first one, and also in the else block of this first if statement, they also append, okay? And remember, they are changing that error to a string, okay, using that str method. Then at the end, they simply raise an Amadeus error, and they join those error messages and return. Otherwise, they show you a message saying error processing flight search. Then they have a singleton. So let's go to the next file. Here they import, okay, API route and exception, okay. Actually, we don't need this endpoint here, okay. Let me remove it. And I don't know why are they doing a post? Is it because we are sending credentials? Okay. So flight offers search, then they validate the API key. We don't need this, okay? Do you know why? I'm going to remove this, okay? Let me do this. Let me just say, let me first undo, and I say keep, okay? But remove this, okay? I'm going to remove that because if you go to this, our class here, okay? And you check the init method, okay? We have this check, okay? We have this check that if we don't find an API key and we don't find an API secret, we raise a value error saying Amadeus API credentials not configured. So that will be handled. Okay, that's why I deleted that code. So I don't need even this comment. Okay, it is obvious that we are making a call to the Amadeus to our service. Okay, Amadeus flight service search. So I did actually if I reduce this, our route, okay, this route, okay, should be clean like this. Should interact with a service, okay, Amadeus flight service search flights, okay, and simply takes the search request. And then, yeah, I think this is okay. Let me say review the next file. Okay, they added requests, okay, but it needs to be installed. I'll say keep, okay. Is it still there? I'm not seeing it. We need to add it, okay. So they tried to explain a number of things. Okay, let me ignore that. I want to do this, okay. I want to maybe kill and say UV add request. I don't know. Do we need it? Do we need it? I'm starting to think carefully. We don't need it actually. Okay. Okay, if we need it, we shall find out. Because initially we're using it because we did not have the Amadeus SDK, but we would expect the SDK to do those for us. Then the AI is explaining things it has done. It says key changes, remove manual HTTP handling, okay, added Amadeus SDK integration, simplified search, updated dependencies, removed request. Yes, this is correct. Kept this, maintain.env, that is okay. Benefits of using the SDK automatic authentication, like we read, that's what they told us. Simplified code, okay, yeah, that is true. Better error handling, true. Tape safety, true. It's maintained, okay, that's also correct. So how it works, they say initialization. Creates Amadeus client with API credentials. That's what we saw here, okay, this, okay. parameter mapping, converts pedantic models to SDK parameters, API call. Okay, let's test it. Okay, but we're having errors. Okay, we're having errors. I see they say pedantic use error when building field info from annotated attribute. Make sure you don't have any field name clashing with a type annotation. Welcome to the age of coding with AI, where you write code in 1 minute and debug for 10 hours. I was going to be really impressed. Okay. So AI wrote the code. Okay. Let's give them the bug. Okay. Let us see if they're able to tell. Let me see. Let me copy up to where? Up to give them a hint. Okay. I'll say the following errors are returned. Review to review and fix. Let us see what it says. It's going to be interesting. I swear if it takes longer, I just end the stream and debug it by myself tomorrow. Let me see what's this. That's what AI is saying. Say, I can see the error is related to a pedantic field name clash. The error indicates there's an issue with the date field in the departure time range model. Let me examine and fix the pedantic models. I can see the issue. The problem is that date and time are built-in Python types. When used as field names in pedantic models, they can cause conflicts. Let me fix this by renaming the fields to avoid the clash. Really? Let's go to that file. So these are the fields, okay? So if you see this, okay? Previously we had date, time, time. Okay, so they have renamed to departure date, departure time. Okay. So now I need to update the external service to use the new field names. Now I need to add field aliases to maintain backwards compatibility with the JSON structure you provided. The JSON uses date and time, but our pedantic models are using alias date, alias time. That's the difference. So it's perfect. I've fixed the pedantic name clash. Here's what I changed. Fix the name clash. Okay. Says root cause the error, but let's do this. Okay. AI is talking too much. Let's run. Let's build, and we see what if it passes. The error occurred because date and time are built-in Python types, and when used as field names in pedantic models, they can cause conflicts with type annotations. Solution: rename the fields date to departure date. Okay. Time to departure time. Added field aliases. Departure date alias has date. Departure time has alias time. Okay. Added config. Populate by name equals to true allows pedantic populate both fields. Allows pedantic to populate fields by both the internal name and the alias. Expected. And look at our application. Looks like it runs without an error. And it's actually it's right if you think about it. Okay. So I'm thinking while reading this. Updated external service. Changed the fast route.departure to fast route.departure time range.departure date. Benefits: no more field clashes, avoids conflicts with built-in Python types. Backwards compatibility. JSON structure still works with date and time fields. Type safety. Maintains proper typing throughout. Clean code. Internal field names are more descriptive. I think I would agree. This is how it works. Okay, this is the JSON input. Okay, they have, you said departure time range. Okay, you'll pass the date and time. Okay, but the Pynatic model internally is this. Okay, has departure date and departure time. But why it works is because we have aliases, date and time. Okay, let me keep this. Review the next file. What is that code which has changed? Okay, they change departure fast route to departure time dot strf time. Has that changed? I'm not seeing it. Okay, they say dot departure date. Yes. Okay. Keep. That is all. Okay. And you see, there's no error here. Okay. The application is running successfully. So yeah, guys, I would suggest that if you're building your applications, get used to using AI. Okay. As AI advances, it will help us write code faster. But of course, like after it has written, make sure you review it. Okay. So I want to see if I refresh this. Okay. We have 2 flights and flight search. I thought I had removed one. Oh, this one here is still there, but we don't need it. Okay. So if we go to flights search, okay, and we look at because this is the example, I want to come here and say try it out. Okay. So we have the currency code. There's something here called fake filler. Okay. I wish it would work for this kind of things. I would use it to auto-populate this. Okay, let's come here, say try it out. Okay. Look at this. Okay, these are just strings, whatever. But let me hit execute. I want to see what happens. I'm very curious. Okay, look at this. We get an says detail flight search failed. Argument of type response is not iterable. Okay, so if you come back here to the server, okay, you see we get a 500. Okay, which is actually what we see here in the response. Okay, so if you look at the argument of type response, is not iterable. Okay, let me copy this. Okay, and we're going to tell AI what a good instruction. But if first way, I want to show you something. Okay, if we come here, we want to look for that argument of type response. Is it referring to this? This could be where the issue is. Okay, but let's do this. Okay, now look at what I'm going to do. Okay, interesting, not even interesting. Okay, I'm going to come, what is this? Okay, so this is what we entered. Okay, I'm going to copy this, Control Z, copy. Okay, I'm saying here is a sample request body from the what? From the automatic API docs. Then I come here and copy this. Let us see. I want to really see what AI can do. Okay. On the front end, I really trust it in common things. Here is the error returned. Can you figure it out? Worst case, you see, and one thing what I don't like about AI sometimes is that I think it can make you lazy on thinking. And then when you run into such kind of issues, you now kind of get stuck. Like ideally, if I was now to debug this without AI, do you know what I would do? I would now maybe have to come to routers, okay? Hit a breakpoint, maybe put a breakpoint around here, okay? And then start stepping through, okay? Or come to the service, okay? Put a breakpoint and start going through slowly. Let us see. Since I can see the issue, the problem is in how we are handling the Amadeus SDK response. The SDK returns a response object. Let's create here. The SDK returns a response object, but we are trying to access response.data and response.result incorrectly. Let me fix this by properly handling the SDK response structure. Guys, what do you think about this so far? Are you threatened by AI anymore? Says now I need to update the Pynatic model to handle the time correctly. Looking at the sample request, the time is in ISO format with time that, but our model expects a time object. Let me fix this. Now I need to update the external service to handle the time string properly. Let me also add some debugging to help understand what's happening with the response. Perfect. I've made several fixes. Fixed response handling issues. Okay. Let me look at it step by step. Okay. So they say print response and type variables. Looks like AI is getting a little bit smarter. I didn't expect this, by the way. Okay. So this is the API call. Okay. API call has been made, and they're putting the type of the response and the attributes of the response. This is very good. In fact, let me tell you, like ideally, I told you I would put a breakpoint. Okay. But why I would put this breakpoint is to see the variables. Okay. But you can also put a breakpoint, but ideally the one of the ways you can debug is by simply using print statements. Very common way. And I'm very happy, like surprised. I've never seen this. Maybe because this is GPT-5. This shows me that GPT-5, which was released yesterday, is much capable. Okay. Then they say the Amadeus SDK returns a response object with data and result attributes. We need to access the response data properly. Okay. So they're saying if response has an attribute data and response.data, okay, so that it's not null, okay, then they say the flight data is equals to response.data. Then they say print phone data with attributes that, okay, the length of the data items. Then if there's no attribute, okay, they're trying to get the response as a list. They say flight data, they turn the response into a list, and they check if this has an attribute, if this object has called response has an attribute iter, else that. Okay. But ideally I just, the best thing I would do would go to Amadeus documentation and find out the exact response. Okay. Human way. Okay. And maybe to make things easier for them, I would just do that. But as they say, converted response to a list. Okay. And they say get the result dictionary if available. So they have an empty dictionary here. Then they check if the response has result. Okay. If it has an attribute called result and that result is not null, then they say the result date equals to response dot result. Okay. Then they say found result attribute. Then they as like that happens, let me just rerun this. Okay. I'd forgotten. Then they come and they say the response will be now if this attribute, okay, response. So they're checking for two attributes. AI thinks that the response object could have an attribute called result or an attribute called response. But ideally, the API should only have one, okay, not two. So ideally, depending on whether result is an attribute of response or response is an attribute of response, the result dict will have either response.response or response.result. Then they extract dictionaries. They say result.get dictionaries into this one here. Okay. They say the SDK returns data in the format that matches our. So they change, okay? They change this, then they say return flight, okay? Otherwise, an error. So let's say keep all. Let me go to the next file. Okay, I'll just keep this for now. Let's try and see, okay? Because remember, this is fake data, okay? I wouldn't expect it to work, by the way. This is fake. If you look at this, say execute, okay? You see, we get the same error. Flight search failed. Argument of type response is not iterable, okay? So if I come back here, okay, you can even see it actually returned a 500. And if I expand, did it give us any logs? Okay, none of those logs actually were printed out. Do you see that too? Okay, interesting. So if you, let me do this. Isn't it very interesting that none of the logs were actually printed out? So what I'm going to do, let's close this file. Okay. Go up, reduce this if statement, reduce this if statement, close that. So, because the issue, okay, is about that, okay? Response is not iterable. Let me continue. Let me see. No, this is okay. But another option is telling it, you can tell these guys, I mean, tell GPT that, you know what, you didn't actually solve your issue, okay? You didn't solve your issue. Because ideally, so what I'm thinking about, okay, if we execute here, okay, and then we run our application and we're not seeing even the logs, okay, I'm starting to wonder, why would we not see these print statements? Is it because of how I configured the Docker app? Okay, because idea you'd see at least something, okay, even at the minimum, okay. So let me, I want to do a test, okay. I want to send maybe like good information, okay. But now, you see what is becoming tricky right now is this. You see things like original location code, destination location code. This is new to me, okay. I don't know what is the correct value for this, okay. I do not know things like traveler type. I can guess, okay. Things like cabin restriction, I need to understand what is a cabin restriction ideally, okay. What's the original location code? Because I know they have codes, okay. Like maybe for like London would be something like LON, LON, okay. Actually, I think I saw it somewhere. If I can show you, let me close this. You see this? Original location code equals to MAD, destination location code equals to ATH. Okay, so whatever ATH is, I swear I have no idea. What MAD is, I have no idea. So let's start with this. Let's copy. Okay, I'll put MAD. I'll put what I know is, of course, it's a country. It's a country code. Okay, but I can't know what country code it means. Then say adults. Okay, this, of course, this should return the same. Okay, the same error. Now I've refreshed it and I've lost something. I need to add this back. This was, I think, MAD. Okay, so come back here. Okay, execute. Okay, you see we get the same error. Okay, so let's tell AI. Okay, we say we don't see the print statements, and we say so we don't I don't see I want to see how far AI can don't see the print statements. I want to see how long it takes for AI to start hallucinating. And the error is the same. Okay. So as it does that, I want to go to the documentation. Okay. Documentation, flight offers. What am I cancel? I say execute. Okay. So you see, I've executed it. Okay. And if you look at, they say access token, they're giving me bad. Okay. Bad request saying invalid date. Date time is in the past. Okay. So let me put something, a time in the present. Okay. I'll put 2025. Okay. Where can I execute it? Okay. Because if I can get the correct response, I'll simply tell ChatGPT to give me a response which matches this. Okay. So now look at this, guys. Okay. This is the trick I'm going to do. Now look at AI, of course, is trying to fix and whatever. Okay. But what I'm going to do is this. Okay. I am going to simply go through this. Okay. Tell it that this is an example of how a request can look like. Okay. So you can see here we have like the currency code dollars. Okay. Original destinations. Okay. So we see this has an ID, the codes. Okay. All this, which is actually supposed to be right here. Okay. See the same thing. Okay. Then when we come here, where is it? We come back. The date, time, the travelers, type, adult, sources, GDS, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then when you executed, okay, you see that we have a response of okay with all this information. Okay. So I will say keep for now, but I want to prompt it. Okay. So I'm going to say, let me see the time. Wow, time is fast spent. I need to end this stream. And in case of any debugging, can do it after, but I think you get the point. Please let me know if you've got something from this. I'm saying here is a sample request. Okay. I don't know. I hope there are not too many tokens. Let me say here is a sample response from the docs, from the official Amadeus docs. Use it to adjust the response and fix the error. So let's see what if it's able to do that. If it's not, no problem. I'll simply end the stream and then debug offline, probably tomorrow, because actually it's 10 p.m. here and I need to rest. Just a moment. See number of notifications on this end. Just a moment, let me see what these guys are saying. Okay, looks like AI is busy. Okay. Interesting. So let us see what's the first thing. Try to get the response. Convert. The thing is now starting to do a lot of hallucination. Okay. Because ideally, and this is what I'm going to do. Let me tell you something. Okay. When I get the response, who is that? This, okay? This, okay? Once I get this response here, okay? I am simply going to look at its structure, like how it is, okay? And create a model according to that structure and simply return it, okay? In case there's no error. But I see it going through left, right. Now look at what they have here. Okay, this for terminals is okay. Let's find out. Let's find out. Actually, I thought I'd finished building the image. It's interesting that AI is failing at simply this point. Would you do better, by the way? What do you think if you were given a chance to write this from scratch? Would you be able to do it by yourself? 20 minutes past the hour. I need to end this on the Baggage probably on Monday. I want to stop carrying bags into the weekend. So I'm going to come here, okay, to search, try it out, okay, execute. But another thing, we can even try this. Is this real data that we got? Okay, this one here. Is this the response? No, it's the request. Okay, so if we go, I saying error processing flight search Amadeus API call failed, invalid query parameter. So this is a bad request. Okay, so it is not a 500. Is it a 500? Yes, a 500 still, by the way. So let me do this. Okay, execute. You see, we get the same flight error, invalid query parameter, same error. Okay, let's give AI one more chance. Okay, and you see if it fails, I'll debug it by myself offline instead of taking a long time on this stream. So people always ask me, will AI take our jobs? Now look at this for this one feature. Okay, are you still scared that AI is going to take your job? Maybe one day, but now I'm not disturbed. Okay, and what is interesting, if you read through like the chat, okay, here it is so confident. It says fixed invalid query parameter, removed problematic parameters, made currency code optional, improved parameter handling. So now I wonder, the time I've spent prompting and going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, if I had just written the code, wouldn't I be done by now? Okay, so let's say keep. Okay, so it's very interesting, very interesting. uh Probably I should have seen what it had changed. Okay, because actually better this okay, this is not even the problem. It's very easy. This our router is simply making a call to this service, search flights. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to come debug, look at this flight search requests. Okay, look at it step by step. Okay,
And then I'm starting to even doubt if there's need for this kind of stuff. Okay. Debug it. And then, yeah, let's give it a one more run. Execute. Okay. Look at that. Okay. We get now a number of validation error, but this is actually okay. Okay. If you look at it, it's much better. Okay. Look at this. You say required field required type equals to missing int value currency USD base from further error missing required. Okay, these are now pindatic what pindatic errors. Okay, there's something what missing. Okay, so what I'm going to do, okay, since this was from our the response which I pasted here was from the example. Okay, I am going to give AI this. Okay, wait, did I give them? I'm now forgetting. Did I give it the sample I gave? Was it from the response or the request? Okay, let me now do this. Okay, then we come here and I say this is a real request body. Adjust the code to suit it. Okay, because actually now if you look at the errors we got, it means the API is actually working. Okay, but our data here, which we passed, failed the pindatic validations. Okay, so what we simply need to do now is to ensure that the request models, okay, are aligned with what we have. So let's wait and we see. And better this what? This SDK. Okay. You say you can find all the endpoints in self-contained examples. One trick is actually simply to use these examples here. Okay. So let me look at this. If I say flight search, okay, and actually one of the things I think I would, if I was to rewrite this, okay, the first thing I would do is to build it without even pindatic validation, okay, and just get it working, then now add the validation. Let me see, what are we dealing with? Flight search, flight, what is this endpoint called? Let me go to the code and see what they say is flight offers search. Okay, go to code examples, flight this one here, flight offers search. Okay, but now this is a node.js example. I need a Python example. Node.js. Okay, let's go to Python. Okay, Python. Still, I came to the same endpoint. Okay, why don't they have? Do they have maybe a branch? The examples are written in the following language. Okay, let's check. Flight offers search to, this is what we're using. Flight offers search to, okay. We go to post, Python SDK, flight offers search.py. You know, this is actually a solution to our problems. Have you thought about it, guys? Okay. So if you look at this, okay, the
they initialize the client, okay? Then they have a JSON string, okay, which is like a sample request, okay? Then they say JSON.loads, JSON string, okay? Then they say response, Amadeus shopping flight, blah blah blah, response to the data. Do you know that this is the whole solution? This is what we want to do. What do you think? This is what we want to do, guys. Only this is what we want to do. Only this. Okay. So let's see if this AI guy has passed. I'm glad I've done this. If I execute, so it's still running. Now I'm curious why it's taking longer this time. Is it because it worked? And look at that. Said failed to process blah 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 from flight service. Interesting. So I keep saying one more time, but the time is going. Let me tell AI what to do. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Okay, raw file. Okay, and I say remove all Pindatic validation. Simply implement as shown below. And I'll keep asking you, if you were to build this by yourself, would you take all this time? Trust me, I'm sure you'd have finished this feature by now. Okay, and actually when I'm debugging, I'm going to delete all this AI stuff. Let us see what happens. Okay, looks like it has removed everything. Okay, I now need to update the route to accept a simple dictionary instead of Pindatic models. Okay, let's see what happens. So I keep. So if I say keep, go to the next. Keep. Let us see. Okay, in its simplest form, if AI will also pass the test. Okay, so we have all these. Okay, init is still the one. Search flights. Okay, they still do their thing. I don't know why they still do this stuff. Okay, then where if you look at the API route, okay, simply took a request, removed everything. Okay, done this. It's gonna be interesting. Prompt vibe coding. And I need to find out why I can't see these statements. Something about doc I need to learn. Is it because I don't have a volume or what? Okay, looks like there's no error. Another shot. Looks like it's taking long. Boom. There we are. It worked. So whom should I thank? Should I thank this documentation? Should I thank me? Should I thank AI? Help me. What's the learning lesson here? What's the key takeaway? I'm asking, and no one has answered me this question. Is AI still a threat to you? Look at this. It has worked. Okay. We get the meta to the type, flight offer, the ID, the duration, the IATA codes. I don't know if these are IATA codes. These are things I need to learn about. Okay. We get all this interesting information, the itineraries, okay, blah blah blah, dictionaries, locations, but there are things to be studied, okay, to be studied in detail. Okay. So if I come here, simple stuff. Okay. So now I'm going to do what they call reverse engineering. Okay. And this is what I'm going to do. Of course, here when you say request, okay, if I go up, you remember that request is simply like a general stuff when we are not sure exactly of how the request would look like. Okay, you simply use request from FastAPI. Okay, then here they get the request body as a dictionary. Say await request.json. Okay, then they call the Amadeus service with the raw request body. Okay, but remember, this request body has no real validation attached to it. That is the caveat here. So you have to be very, very careful. But I guess by the time we are calling such flights, okay, we're calling this, what is it, this API endpoint here. In case any information is not like valid or invalid, they will handle it for us, okay? But later, I had what I want to do, okay? Before doing this request here, okay? Let me put here to do. To do, okay, is to do search search in Redis. Okay, I'll say search in catch. Okay, in catch first. Okay, which ideally will be Redis. Okay, we're going to add a Redis service to our Docker. So we leave this here. Okay, so that when someone searches something, okay, let us say in a range of between 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, after 5 to 10 minutes, we invalidate the catch. Okay, between 5 to 10 minutes, if the information is in our cache in Redis, okay, we return it from Redis very fast. Otherwise, we make a request to our service. Okay, so let me just remove it. I don't need these comments. The code explains itself. Okay, what I need is this one here to do search in catch first. Okay, so which means this side, after we've returned the response, okay, after returning the response, we can now save in Redis. Let me just return response if result before returning the response. Okay, here I'm going to say to do not check but to do save in catch. Okay, and it will be Redis for 5, let me say 5 or 10, let me say for 10 minutes. Okay, to be saved 10 minutes. This is something to be tested. If the catch, if information if the flight information changes rapidly and 10 minutes is too much, then I'll reduce it to 5. But for now, I want to catch for 10 minutes. Okay, it will even help on saving the API costs and whatever, because Amadeus charges you every time you hit the endpoint. Then maybe to do one more check to make sure that it was not a fluke. Okay, you're not just lucky. Say execute. It's taking some time. Boom, and there we are. We have someone is calling me. Let me just respond to them. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so yeah, let me know how you see this. This has been, I think, very, very successful. Now my front end, for those of you who did not see the front end, let me show you. Okay, let me show you window. I don't need to create a new window of cursor. There's no need. All I need to do is to create a new, go to /frontend, and I say npm run dev. Okay, and if I go to localhost, okay, so this is it. Okay, this form will make, when someone clicks on such flights, it will make a request to this endpoint we are building. Okay, so this is what is going to happen when someone completes this form on the front end. I need to reset it. Okay, when someone clicks this form on the front end, it will automatically hit the endpoint, okay, that returns this information, okay, and then yeah, they'll be able to go to another page to see the results. So that's how it's going to work. So yeah, just to show you what is coming, okay, this is what is coming very soon. So yeah, just a motivation for you. And now you've seen the trick, okay, this this is the trick. And I think actually for other endpoints I'm going to be coming here, but there's something I want to find out, okay, this is where to get these codes, okay. I think this code ZAR, CPT, because here in the form, ideally when someone searches for airport like London, whatever, what goes to the end to our endpoint will be the codes, okay. So I think there should be an endpoint for that. I'll research about that probably on Monday, because I want to enjoy my weekend. Lena says it is better to look at documentation and other people's code and write your own. Vibe coding can take longer time. Exactly. Sometimes when I see people on Twitter talking about vibe coding, I'm like, are these people senior software engineers? Are they juniors? Because even I've talked with juniors and they don't really do vibe coding the way people talk about it a lot. Okay. So let's go back to the backend. There's something I wanted to check one more time. Okay. Looks like we're getting some feedback finally. Okay. So let me see. I want to look at some of the logs. Okay. Says request body. Okay. It was printed. API call successful. Where is this statement? Okay. Should be now in our service. So you see that vibe when we looked at documentation, actually Linus, when we went to documentation here, okay, and just told we were strict. In fact, I was strict to AI to use only this. It was successful. Now using this, I'm going to create my own Pandatic validations and whatever. Things will be okay. Okay. So if we come here, okay, and I scroll down, okay, you see, says request body. I think this is what was printed. Was there a print statement here? Okay, here there's no print statement. But if I come here, you see, request body is this one here. JSON.dump request body index equals to 2. Okay, so this is what is comes from the request body. Okay, so maybe I'll try to tell it to create a Pydantic model based on this, but that's maybe tomorrow. Okay, so if I scroll, we see API call successful. Where is that in our code? It is here. Okay, this is after we call Amadeus shopping. It's supposed to be as easy as just doing this. Okay, but AI was failing to understand the, what do I call it, the schemas. Okay, the schemas. Crazy. So after that, says response type, you see, Amadeus.client.response.response, okay, which is this statement here. After that, response attributes, then the response attributes, so many of them, okay. After that, they say return response directly. If as ideally, in fact, let me tell you something, okay. Now I'm going to say something and you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I don't expect, okay, like if the endpoint, okay, I mean the documentation of Amadeus has told us that there's going to be an attribute called data always for this version of API. I wouldn't need to have this unless they say sometimes it's going to be data and sometimes it's going to be result. That's when I'll have this if else. But maybe I don't need it. So I'm going to make this edit tomorrow, okay, or maybe on Monday, okay. Yeah, so now that you've seen it, it's working. On Monday we shall go into something else and I'll show you my changes, okay. So if the data attribute return blah blah blah, then then later they return what, the error, okay. Say Amadeus API client error blah 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 blah, okay. But I will do even better than this. So yes, Linus, you're right. Better to write our code than vibe coding. Okay. So yeah, at least we've learned. Okay. We've learned something. And like I've told you after this call, I'm going to create my Pandatic model to match this request body. Okay. And after that, I'm going to create a Pandatic model which matches the response, another Pandatic model for the response error and response when successful. Okay. And that will be it. Okay. So just to create a walkthrough. Okay, actually we don't need this. I'll remove this. Okay, I created an API router. Okay, a new API router for flights. Okay, remember, we had one for users. Okay, and for users, where is users? For users, we had registration. Okay, and login. Okay, now after that, we're now doing for search flights. Okay, I'm going to hide this sidebar. Okay, search flights, and this is okay. This is too long, but I'm going to edit it. This is not what I want it to look like. Let me just remove this comment for now. Okay, I'm going to write another one. Okay, so this is it gets the request body and makes a request to our service. Okay, for searching flights. In case there's an error, okay, it raises with the detail of the error. Okay, the same thing here. Okay, and I don't know why it has, okay, value error exception. Okay, that's okay to have a value and an exception. Then, but later on, as I'll be finishing this API, I'll have something to do with catching. Okay, then what else? So in our service, if we go to our service, we simply also remove this for now. I'll edit it when I'm done with the paradigmatic models and everything. Okay, they print, but I don't need this. Let me remove it for now. Remove this. Also remove this print statements. Okay, I'll don't need them for now. Okay, in fact, later I'll show you a better way of handling this. Okay, using what they call logging. Okay, yeah. So this I'll investigate this properly. Okay, remove this comment. Come on, what am I doing? Remove this comment. Only one line is I want to move. Okay, then yeah, this I'll also change. Okay, this is okay. Yeah, if we come here, API keys, this is okay. I need to remove this. Okay, the init is okay. This check is okay. Then they try Amadeus client created successfully. Okay. Okay, failed to create Amadeus client. Okay. Do we need, what do you think, guys? Do you think I need this try except here? In case we create a client and it fails, would a client fail because of the API key being wrong? Okay, let me leave it. Okay, let me leave it. Okay, I'll leave this comment for now. Okay, so yeah, ideally you first get the credentials from the, what is it called, the environment, like I showed at the beginning. And if you're just joining now, I showed you how to get these keys. Okay, then we search flights, and that is it. So everything concerning searching flights will be built here in this service. Okay, but like I said, after tomorrow I'll change this into paradigmatic models and I'll show you what I did. Okay, then of course I'm going to research about codes and whatever. I need to understand flight information, how flights work. Okay, yeah. So yeah, like you see, software engineering is not really easy. Okay, when I hear people talking about, hey, software engineering is very easy, maybe, but even just see implementing such an issue, if you're not careful, even AI can make it very hard for you, very easily hard for you. All right, so personally, I've learned something from this. Number one, the first key thing is that I have to be careful when I'm using AI to generate code. Secondly, I think if you're using AI to generate code, you should generate small pieces, okay? Small pieces and debug them, okay? Like ideally for this case, I was supposed to get a small piece for the route and debug the response, first of all, okay? Go on, debug the next thing like that. Small chunks and debug them. But I did a lot of stuff, okay? And I'm starting to think AI is pretty much better on the UI for doing repetitive UIs than on the backend, in my experience. Because if you look at this backend, if I show you this backend, okay? I mean, not the backend, but this front end, I used little effort here, minor tweaks, okay? But even the code quality was not so good. I'll need to go on and change it and do several things. All right. This has taken long, 1 hour and about 40 minutes, 45, 48 minutes. Yeah, so I'll do those changes. So you've seen flight search is working, okay? What I'm only going to change offline is the pandatic base models, okay? After changing those pandatic base models, yeah, I'll change it, push it, and in the next video we shall go on to something else. Yeah, until this API is done, and yeah, we call it a good learning experience. So if you think this is okay and enjoyable, yeah, you can share this video and yeah, subscribe, yeah, give it to people to learn so that we all learn together. So yeah, I'm ending this stream now. Thank you all for learning with me. Guren, thank you for being an active participant. Linus, like always, thank you for being an active participant. I think the day this channel gets monetized, and if that happens even once, then as you have to be one of the guys who get some cash from me. All right, bye for now, and catch you in the next video when we study. Not study, but of course we shall be studying. We shall be building another feature and studying more, okay? And learning how to use AI tools carefully, okay? And like I've told you, I'll improve the pandatic stuff only, okay? And then yeah, in the next stream we shall move on. So bye for now and catch you soon.